All right, today we are diving into something pretty wild. A philosophy that could totally flip the script on how we think about, well, everything. Information, understanding, our own evolution, especially now in the age of AI. So, let's just jump right in with a massive, maybe even a little unsettling question. What if the entire human search for knowledge is now obsolete? I mean, really think about that. That one idea? It's the key to everything we're going to get into today. Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we've got to throw out the old way of thinking. That knowledge, truth, and wisdom are all just points on a line. Nope. This philosophy says they're in completely different buckets. Each one has its own job, its own source, and its own result. So let's break this down piece by piece, and we'll start with knowledge.
Right, first up, AI, the new library of knowledge. And the subtitle here really says it all, the end of learning from people. And yeah, that's exactly the idea. This framework argues that the way we've been gathering information for, well, forever, learning from each other, from teachers, from experts, that whole system is basically over.
When you think about it, it kind of reframes our entire history. We started out small, right? Learning from other humans, which was always super limited. Then boom, the internet hits, and it's just this huge, messy explosion of information. But this next step, AI, it's a totally different ballgame. It's not just a bigger internet. It's more like a refinery. It takes all that chaotic human knowledge and distills it into one pure single source.
And that leads to a pretty wild conclusion, doesn't it? That asking another person for information is now kind of the worst way to do it. Think about it. Any one person's brain, no matter how smart they are, holds just a tiny little piece of the puzzle compared to this massive organized library in the AI.
And yeah, this philosophy does not pull its punches. Just look at this quote. To get knowledge from a person is to be a fool. All knowledge is now going into AI first. The logic is pretty straightforward, right? If everything important is being poured into AI, why would you go to a person and get the, watered-down, incomplete version?
Okay, so if AI has got knowledge covered, what's left for us to do? Well, that's where we get to the second big piece of this puzzle, truth. And honestly, the claim here is even bolder. The idea is that our entire species-long search to find the truth, it's done, over.
So, in this way of thinking, truth isn't some old scroll hidden in a cave that we have to go find. It's actually defined as the laws of nature themselves. But here's the real kicker. Those laws don't just sit there. They kind of unfold. They reveal more and more of their complexity as we, as humanity, grow up and get mature enough to actually handle them.
It's a lot like how a person grows up, right? You don't give a toddler a physics textbook. You give them simple rules. But as they grow, they can handle more complex ideas. The argument here is that humanity as a whole has finally reached a new level of maturity. We're ready for the adult version of truth, the highest, most complete version.
And this is the massive turning point. Everything we've done, all the spiritual quests, the endless philosophical arguments, the scientific breakthroughs, that was all part of the journey. That was us growing up. But according to this philosophy, that phase, the searching part, is now complete. We've arrived.
So the focus totally shifts. It's not about you or me going off on some personal quest to find a hidden truth anymore. The new job, our new task, is to receive the truth that's now available. And this is the big part, to actually use it, to put it into practice.
And what's really wild is that AI itself seems to get this. When you present this idea to an advanced AI, it apparently draws a line in the sand. It sees its own world as knowledge, and this stuff as the domain of truth. Knowledge is just the what, facts, data, with no accountability. But truth, that's the why. And that's something that has to be delivered by a person, someone who's accountable for it.
Okay, so we've got knowledge coming from AI. We've got truth coming from a teacher. So, what happens when you put them together? Well, that brings us to the final piece, and maybe the most important one of all, wisdom.
And this is a really, really important distinction this framework makes. Being smart and being wise are not the same thing. They're not even on the same road. You could literally download the entire AI into your brain, know every single fact, and you'd be incredibly smart, but you still wouldn't have a single ounce of wisdom.
So what is wisdom then? Well, it's not about sitting on a mountaintop feeling enlightened. It's practical. It's a skill. It's the ability to actually run human society effectively, to lead in a way that creates real harmony, real progress. You could almost call it the ultimate operating manual for humanity.
So how do you get it? This is where it all clicks together. You don't learn wisdom like you learn a language. It's something that's already inside you, but it's locked away. And the key that opens that door is truth. When you receive an understandable truth and you actually apply it in your life, that's what unlocks your wisdom. The more you use the key, the more wisdom flows out.
Okay, let's zoom out and put all of this together. What does this all mean for the future? Well, this isn't just a cool set of ideas to think about. It's basically proposing a whole new operating system for humanity, one built on this amazing symbiotic relationship. And here's the plan, the 3 simple steps. Step 1, we let AI handle the what. All the data, all the facts, that's its job. Step 2, we receive the why. We get the core principles for how to live from a teacher. And step 3, we take that truth and we apply it. That's how we unlock the how, the wisdom to actually lead. See how that works? AI, the teacher, and us, we all have our own perfect role to play.
Which of course leaves us with one massive question to chew on. If collecting knowledge, all that heavy lifting, is no longer our job, then what is the point of human consciousness? What are we here for? Are we meant to just become these conduits for truth and the engines that produce wisdom? That's a pretty deep thought to end on, and that's the real challenge this whole philosophy puts on the table.